Hello students. In yesterday class we have just ended our last chapter, that was magnetism and matter. So students, I think there is now no confusion in that chapter. So if I will talk about the branches of electromagnetism that I have told you in starting, and number of times I am telling you which kind of branch we are going to study and what are we studying in that branch. So up to now we have studied electrostatic, electrodynamic and magnetostatic. These three branches of electromagnetism we have just covered that. And as in electrostatic case we have studied the cases of charges at rest, at static position. In case of electrodynamic we have seen the cases whenever charge start to move, means current is generated somewhere, then due to that electric and magnetic effects we have seen. Later in magnetostatic, that is the magnet and its behavior we have seen, and which kind of properties in magnetic field, just magnetic moments, and these all properties we have seen in the case of magnetostatic. Even earth's magnetism we have seen, magnetic materials we have seen there. Now in the next chapter that we are going to study, that is electromagnetic induction. So this chapter is exactly magnetodynamic. So here the one by one we are just studying the branches of electromagnetism. So here in the case of magnetodynamic, it means that whenever the magnet will be in motion. So here one more thing, as in the case of electric charge, whether the charge were steady and it is varying, means with time its value is changing or not changing, we are getting magnetic field for both of the cases. But for the magnetodynamic case we will get only when the electric effect due to the magnetic movement of the magnets, whenever there will be variation in the magnetic field. So this is the most important case here. We will not get it for the steady change of the magnetic field with time here. Now let's see first in the chapter the first topic, that is magnetic flux. So as like we have discussed in the case of electric flux or electrostatic cases, we have seen electric flux, and later we have seen Gauss law with the help of that electric flux. Here we have to see first magnetic flux, and as the definition of magnetic flux is very important to understand electromagnetic induction and the behavior here for the variation of the magnet. So one more time I have to remind you what is electric flux. So as electric flux is total number of electric field lines crossing unit surface area normally to it, that is called electric flux. So as in the same way we have, if any surface, suppose this is our surface and magnetic field lines that are passing through it. So if we will see the number of magnetic field lines that are passing per unit area or per unit cross section of this surface, that is known as magnetic flux here. So simple one more thing here, the magnetic flux that we will calculate here, that will be in the direction of perpendicular to the direction this surface, means if this is a surface or through which this magnetic field lines is passing through it, so this is normally passing through it. So number of lines that are passing normally per unit area, that is known as its magnetic flux here. If you have to define the magnetic flux, then we are just defining it by a quantity, that is phi, and phi is given by B dot ds. So this is the B dot ds, or simple, if you will just suppose in the first case this magnetic field line is perpendicular or normal to the surface already, A is the area of this one, then we can write the flux, that is magnetic field lines crossing per unit area, this is known as the magnetic flux here. And if suppose the magnetic field lines that are at any angle, means if our surface is suppose that is slant somewhere at the angle, that means if we will draw the normal to it, then that normal will tell us the direction of the area vector to it. So here it means that, and you know that already the area vector direction is normal to the surface, means if it is surface then the direction of area vector will be normal to it. So if you will draw the direction of area vector that is in this direction, you will see the magnetic field, if it is making some angle theta to it, then that time magnetic flux can be written as B in the as I have told you, number of field lines crossing the surface normally. So if we have it have to cross the surface normally, then we have to take the component of magnetic field in the normal direction of the surface. So it will be B cos theta here. So this is B cos theta and area of the surface. So we are just denoting the magnetic flux in this way, that is AB cos theta. So whenever there will be the angle that is making or magnetic field lines, or you can say that the surface is making some angle with magnetic field, then that time we have to take the component of magnetic field that is normal to the surface, that is just giving us the value of magnetic flux. So I think the definition of magnetic flux is now clear. In general, we have to just write the formula for the magnetic flux. So suppose we have some of the surface here, closed surface there should be also, and in this closed surface we have selected unit area here, or simple, suppose the area is here, that is ds. Then magnetic field lines that is crossing this area, suppose that is B is crossing this area, then we can write the magnetic flux here, that is small magnetic flux is written as B dot ds. Dot product actually tells us that the angle between the area vector and magnetic field, as just now I have told you, phi is given by BA cos theta. Whenever there is some angle or if there is the different direction of the magnetic field lines and area vector, or you can say that the surface here, means like if surface is just here, that is perpendicular to this one, then this time theta will be so here. But whenever it is slanted as some angle, then that time you have to just find out the angle between them, and after that you can calculate the magnetic flux here. So here we can write it B dot A. So dot product of this one represented this. So this is the small magnetic flux associated with this small area ds, means number of magnetic field lines that is crossing this area ds, that is denoted by this. So in general, if we have to find out the magnetic flux linked with all of this surface, then we can integrate it over the area, so that is B, or you can just expand it also like B ds cos theta. Suppose here theta is 0, means the magnetic field lines are along to the normal direction of the surface, then that time we can directly write it B ds. One more time I have to tell you here, whenever we are just talking about the magnetic field lines, then that time these field lines will provide you a uniform magnetic field, so we can take it outside and we can keep the surface here inside. So in this way we can also write it, or if you don't know, if some of the angles are there in between this magnetic field, then that time you can also write it phi is equal to integral over B dot ds here. So as it is just explaining the surface, then we can write down closed surface B dot ds here, that is equal to phi. So this is the magnetic flux and the definition is very simple here. And if you will see the units of magnetic flux, then in SI unit we are representing the magnetic flux in Weber, and if you will see 1 Weber, then you can just write it. So 1 Weber, this is denoted by this one. So as phi is given by BA, theta you know that is unitless quantity. So as B is its SI unit is Tesla, and A its SI unit is meter, so we can write is for area meter square. So this is 1 Tesla meter square. This is the unit of the magnetic flux here. In CGS system, if you will see the magnetic flux, then that is given by Maxwell. So 1 Maxwell, that is given by, if you will see the here magnetic field in CGS system, then that is just calculated in Gauss. So it means that 1 Gauss, if you will write here, so this is 1 Gauss, and here this is centimeter, CGS system is centimeter. So 1 centimeter square. So let's convert it into SI units and let's see how many Weber in it. So it means here you can calculate if you will convert it. So 1 Gauss is equal to 10 to the power minus 4 times Tesla, and 1 centimeter you know 10 power minus 2, and centimeter square 10 power minus 4 meter square here. So from here you can see 10 power minus 8 Tesla meter square, or you can also write from here 10 to the power 8, this is Weber. So here 1 Maxwell, that is equal to 1 Maxwell, this is equal to 10 to the power minus 8 Weber, or 1 Weber, that is equal to 10 to the power 8 Maxwell. So you can also just denote it in the different units of the flux here, and you should know all that units, and this is very simple way how to derive the unit in CGS system or SI system that already you have studied in class 11th. Now next topic that here we will study, that is very important, that first before the starting electromagnetic induction, let's see what is positive and negative flux here. So number of times in numerical this term or this word you will see. So let's see the meaning of these words first. So positive and negative flux means, as you can just suppose you have some of the area this surface, and now you can draw the area vector in two direction. If this is a surface, then you can draw the area vector in this direction also and in this direction. So it means that if magnetic field lines that are supposed keep passing in this way, and if you have drawn the area vector in this direction, then that time the angle between them will be 0 here. So as it is in positive quadrant, you can say here, so this is positive flux here. And if you will take the area vector in opposite direction to the magnetic flux, then that time theta is equal to 180 degree, then that time it is called negative flux. So as cos theta gives you minus of 1, that's why it is negative flux, and for this one we are getting positive flux. So whenever theta is equal to 0 means angle between area vector and magnetic flux, that is 0, then we will get positive flux. And if it is saying that there is negative flux, it means that the area vector we have drawn opposite to the magnetic field lines, so there the angle is 180 degree. So I think this is now clear. Now let's start our chapter and the topics of electromagnetic induction here. So let's see first what is the electromagnetic induction. So from here, as already Faraday has done a lot of inventions, lot of discoveries he have done in physics in case of electricity and magnetism, but here the electromagnetic induction was one of the most important discovery of him. So this is, let's see why it is very important. Later you will see what kind of applications we are using based on this electromagnetic induction in our daily life. So the next topic is electromagnetic induction for us. So here as I told you, we are going to study for the magnetodynamic here. So as electric field and magnetic field are linked with each other, and we have seen already this thing while studying the electrodynamic case, means the moving charges that are producing the electric magnetic effect, and the magnetic effect of that moving charge or current we have seen already, means they produce the magnetic field. Whether the moving charge is steady, means the current is constant, or current is varying. For both of the cases we are obtaining that. Now if what will be the effect whenever we are moving any magnet somewhere? So whenever we are moving magnets with varying speed, then that time it induces an electric EMF inside the coil, means an induced electromotive force will be there, and due to that current is produced inside the coil. So whenever we have any conducting coil and we are just moving any magnet towards it, or we have held a magnet as a stationary and we are moving coil towards it with a constant with some velocity, varying velocity, then that time a current is set up inside it or a induced EMF is generating inside it. So this phenomena is known as electromagnetic induction. Means the electric field is generated due to the magnetic field is called electromagnetic induction here. Clear, I think? Means due to the variation of the magnetic field we are getting variation of the here an electric current we are getting or some of the induced EMF we are seeing here. So this is called the simple electromagnetic induction phenomena. So as I told you, Faraday has done a lot of good work for the electromagnetic induction. So let's see how can we understand electromagnetic induction by experiments. So here are some experiments done by Faraday and Henry. So let's see that experiment. So two kinds of experiment there can be. First, when we are moving the magnet. Second, when we are moving the coil towards it. So experiment first, let's see it. So in the case of experiment first, when we have just held the coil as a stationary. So suppose we have a coil and we attach a galvanometer to just with it. So this galvanometer, you know that it has the work to detect the current. So whenever due to the variation of magnetic field there can be the production of electric field, this can be detected by the galvanometer easily. Means we can confirm that yes, there is the induced EMF or any induced current is generated inside the coil. So originally there is no current in this coil, and now we have a bar magnet, suppose that is north direction and south direction. Then for the experiment in first case, suppose we are just moving the north direction of the magnet towards the coil. So whenever we will move it towards the coil, then experimentally we see that a current is set up inside the coil in this direction, and whenever the current will be set up inside it, then that time the galvanometer shows the deflection in this. Means we can detect the current is due to the variation of magnetic field, the current is generated here. Whenever we are taking this magnet away to this loop here, then that time this magnetic field set up in opposite direction to the previous one, and again we are getting the deflection in galvanometer. Means a current is set up here, but the direction of current is in different direction. Clear? Next one, if you will just bring the south pole of the this magnet towards it, or you will take it away, that then the same phenomena it will generate for the south pole also. So whenever we are just bringing close to loop any magnet, then that time due to that variation of the magnetic field and induced EMF and current is generated inside it, that can be detected here. So this experiment you can also do by yourself at your home. This is very easy experiment exactly. Next here, if suppose we have just held this magnet stationary and this loop as a stationary, so initially there is no current inside the loop, then that time this galvanometer shows no deflection. Means for the steady value of magnetic field, means if magnetic field is uniform, it is not changing, then that time there is no change in the flux, or there is no change in our induction process we are getting. So that's why it is called induction also, because in induced EMF and induced current we are getting inside it, but for this case, this stationary case, we are not getting any current inside it. So here a conclusion of this experiment is that magnetic field can produce the electric field or electromagnetic induction whenever it is in motion only. When it is at rest or magnetic field is not changing with time, then that time it cannot produce any kind of induced EMF or current inside. Clear? Next here, if you will see the reason behind this experiment and the observations that we have seen. So the reason is that whenever we are bringing any magnet close to the loop here, then the flux linked with the magnet, that changes. So due to the change of the flux linked with it, means whenever if we are moving the magnet near to this, then the flux that is, or magnetic line of forces that is passing through this loop, that will increase here. So due to increase in that flux here, a induced EMF is generated, and due to that induced EMF, a current is generated in this coil. So here the reason behind the generation of the induced EMF or current is the flux linked with the coil that is changing. So here the basic topic is for the electromagnetic induction is that whenever the flux linked with any coil that will change, then there will be the effect of electromagnetic induction. We will get some electric current there or induced EMF there. Clear, I think. So basically, if we have to understand or observe the electromagnetic induction phenomena, then we have to change the flux linked with this coil in which we have to produce the electric current. Clear? And in the same way, if we are just taking it away to this loop here, so that time the flux linked with it, we have magnetic field lines that is passing through the coil that decreases because magnet is going away from it. So due to decrease in magnetic field lines, obviously you know that the flux is magnetic field lines passing through the coil normally per unit area. So as the number of field lines are decreasing, then magnetic flux linked with the coil that decreases, then again flux is changing here. So due to change in flux, current is also again generating an induced EMF we are getting, but here as that is decreasing, the field lines are decreasing, then current just set up in opposite direction here. So due to increment or decrement we are of the flux, we are getting two different directions there. In the case of magnet motion, whenever magnet is away from the loop or it is just moving this towards the loop here. So clear, I think the reason is now clear. And if we have just held the magnet stationary, so as there is no change in the field lines, no change in the flux we are getting, so there is no change in the any property, so we are not getting any induced current there. So basically to just induced any current, we must get this value here. Means with time there should be the variation in the flux linked with the coil. If this value we will get, then that time we can only observe the electromagnetic induction. Clear, I think, students? This is. Now let's see the second experiment here. So as the second experiment is whenever we have held the magnet as stationary. So suppose here this is north pole, south pole of magnet, and now we are moving the loop towards or it or not. So as if you will normally the loop we have, so some of the magnetic line of forces will cross due to this magnet here, but under some of the phi this we are getting initially. Mean these are at rest here. Now we have started to move this loop towards this magnet here. So if we will move the loop towards the magnet, that time the magnetic field lines that are passing through it, that will increase here. So as the field lines will increase, it means that the flux linked with the coil will increase here. So as flux linked with the coil will increase, then we can see that there is some net flux change in the flux we are getting here. So that change in flux induces an EMF and a current inside the coil. So again for the variation of the coil towards the magnet, even we are getting the induced electric current inside it. And for the direction, if we are just taking it away from the magnet here, then that time the field lines, or you can say that magnetic line of forces that are passing through it, that will reduce because we are taking it away. So in that way here as you know that magnetic field is inversely proportional to the distance, that's why field lines will decrease here. So as field lines are decreasing, then it means that the flux linked with this one, that will decrease here. But here if you will see, we will get again change in flux. So change in flux, that will induce a current, but due to decrement this current induction will be in opposite direction now. So in the both of the way, whether the magnet is in motion or loop is in motion, we will get for both of the times the there is induction phenomena or induced current or induced EMF. So simple, I think this experiment is now clear. So here it is not the thing that we have to move the magnet. It is not our case for the electromagnetic induction. Only there should be the change in magnetic flux linked with the coil. So the basic term that you have to understood here for the magnetodynamic case, magnetodynamic, it doesn't mean that like electrodynamic charge should be in motion. Here it doesn't mean that magnet should be in motion. We are talking that magnetic field should be varying. means due to the variation of magnetic field, obviously field lines will vary and flux will vary. So basic term here that is for induction is magnetic flux is varying or field lines are varying here. Clear, I think. So here the third experiment we have done also, and see that whenever we are just putting any loop, current loop near to another current loop, another loop only, not current loop, then that time also we are getting the phenomena of magnetic induction. So that is very easy thing is, as you know that the current any current loop that is producing the magnetic field around it, and whenever we will change that magnetic field, so using rheostat we can change the current there. So by changing the current with time we can change the flux link with that coil, and due to that the change in flux we are getting the flux changes in another coil. So let's see this experiment. So this is the experiment number third we have. Suppose we have this type of any magnetic material over which we have wounded some of the coil here. So you can see some of the coils we have just did here over this one. So this is the bonding of coil we are getting, we have, and this coil is just connected with some battery, and this is a tapping key we have, and a rheostat we have. So you can just see the rheostat, this is rheostat, this is a key, and this is our battery here. So due to this battery some current will be flow inside this one. So there is a current that is I is flowing inside it. Now we have just connected another loop here that is current in which in these loops there is no current. And one more thing, with these loops we have connected a galvanometer here. So here that can just detect the measure of or the presence of current in this loop or not. So initially this is our experimental setup. This is the magnetic material over which we have wounded two loops here. In one loop we have connected a battery, rheostat and key, and current is flowing due to this battery. Whenever we will just put or tap this key K, and here this loop there is no connection of the battery, then there is no flow of the current initially. Clear? Now whenever we will just close this key, then that time due to closed circuit will be closed and there is a current for the particular resistance will be flowing. So here this current is now steady. Then you know that for steady current we are also getting the magnetic field, and that can be calculated by Ampere's theorem or Biot-Savart law easily. But that magnetic field is here uniform, that is not changing. So that will induce means some of the field lines or some of the flux we will get here for this loop. But with time, as this is not changing, then that flux will not. So initially actually flux is 0. But whenever we will tap the key, suddenly flux will change, then we will get a momentarily change in this galvanometer, means a deflection in galvanometer we will get, some current will be produced here. But whenever we will not again change the current, then that flux will be constant there. Now if we have to change the flux, then we can use the rheostat here. So by using rheostat, by variation of the rheostat, current will be varying and that varying current will again set up the induced EMF and current inside it, and we can increase or decrease the current generated in this by increasing or decreasing current here. Means simple thing is that as this current will produce the magnetic field and that will induce some induction here, and if we will flux will change, then again with change in flux there will be change in induction. So that's why I am telling you the basic term that we have to just understand here, that is magnetic flux here. So whenever flux will change, there will be production of the current here. So as initially here the flux was 0 because we have just opened the key, then that time no current is here, no here also no packed flux is here, 0 flux is here. But suddenly when current will flow due to the tap of key, then that's why flux will sudden change, some of the flux will be generated, and due to that some current will be also generated here. So this is the induction phenomena, and these all phenomena we will also see later as self-induction, mutual induction. So that's why all the experiments about the electromagnetic induction and how can we understand the production of induced EMF and current there, that is now I think clear. Means whether the current loop is moving, whether the loop is moving, whether the magnet is moving, or any of the such kind of just neighboring coil we have. For all these cases, as one thing is changing, flux is changing linked with the coil, that's why induced EMF and current we are getting there. So this is the basic thing. I think the experiment reasons for the electromagnetic induction, that is, I think, student now clear. And electromagnetic induction, this the basic of this, and introduction of this is well clear with this experimental study. So students, I think all these things are now clear. Then let's end our class here. So in next class we will just study more of the things here, but basically we will just start it by the Faraday law, because this experiment was done by the Faraday, and after that he has given some of the laws here for the electromagnetic induction. So let's see that in next class. Thank you, students.